just the walk, let alone the fight part. It takes a lot of mental strength. It takes a lot of guts, a lot of heart, you know, mental strength. It's a huge thing in boxing.
It's a big thing in life, even outside of boxing, right? In business and in all, I think, great endeavors. Do you think it's something that you can, from what you've seen in the gym, something you can teach or train?
I think you can.
Chris Eubank Jr. isn't just stepping into the ring to throw punches. He's stepping into psychological warfare. Ahead of his explosive clash with Conor Benn, Eubank has made it clear this isn't just a physical battle, it's a mental one. For him, boxing is about more than skill. It's about mental fortitude. He sees the ring as a crucible where only the toughest minds survive, and he doesn't just think he's mentally stronger than Benn, he knows it. According to Eubank, Benn is emotionally unstable and cracks under pressure. In contrast, he thrives in chaos. He says walking to the ring isn't for the faint-hearted, it's for killers, warriors who embrace fear and pressure like armor. He questioned whether Benn could handle the pressure cooker of elite-level combat, warning that raw aggression won't save him once he's drowning in deep waters. For Eubank Jr., this is about
There ain't no appreciation, he's an idiot. That's it there, he's just an idiot. That's what sells it, you know, he's an idiot. And I've said it about 5 times in about 10 seconds, that's because I genuinely what I think of him. You know, so for me, I'll fight anybody. I don't have to always talk. I'll fight Barrios for the WBC world title, no problem. People know what they're getting.
Yeah.
It's not fluke. I am the product. My fighting style is the product.
who can withstand the fire, not who throws the hardest punch. But Conor Benn isn't coming to play nice. Exploding with raw fire, Benn tore into Eubank Jr. with brutal honesty. He doesn't see a warrior. He sees a clown living off a famous last name. There's no respect in Benn's tone, only intent to destroy what he calls a manufactured image. In his eyes, Eubank is all talk, no substance. This isn't about money or clout for Benn, it's about truth. And he believes he's the one bringing the real fire. Benn doesn't need to run his mouth, he says. His fists do the talking. He's prepared to face killers, walk through fire, and emerge untouched. But Eubank didn't stay silent for long. Fueled by Benn's disrespect, he's flipped a switch, promising a violent reckoning. Now the pressure is at boiling point. Can Benn back up the storm he stirred?
Junior, I mean, he's stylish and he's skillful. And if that Liam Smith defeat, which worries me a bit for Chris, if that's sort of part of the past, that the rematch was emphatic for Eubank Jr., but it wasn't Liam's night really, and he had an injury going into it. So that defeat that Eubank suffered worries me a bit, but he's fought in better company, and Conor Benn's got it all to prove. But if there's one guy that wants it more, it's Conor Benn. There's no doubt about that.
Or will Eubank make him regret every word? Adding even more fuel to this fire, veteran boxing analyst Adam Smith delivered a scathing assessment of Eubank's career. While acknowledging his natural talent and flash, Smith revisited the devastating loss to Liam Smith, a moment that shattered Eubank's once invincible aura. Even Eubank's rematch win didn't impress Smith, who noted that Liam fought injured, making the victory far less convincing. That loss didn't just bruise Eubank's record, it cracked the very foundation of his image. And Smith made one thing clear. Conor Benn is coming like a hungry lion, focused, powerful, intent on domination. Now, with the moment of truth looming, the questions are burning hot. Will Eubank bury the ghosts of his past and reassert himself as an elite force, or will Benn exploit every exposed weakness and steal the spotlight once and for all? Drop
Beat there. Maybe that's what Eubank Jr. is thinking, that Conor Benn is going to come out and leave everything in those first 3 or 4 rounds. And if Chris is still there, it could be trouble for Conor. But Conor could knock him out. Barry could be right.
Your predictions below. The fire's lit, and this war is ready to explode. Adam Smith just cranked the heat to boiling point with a searing prediction about the impending war between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. According to Smith, Eubank's strategy hinges entirely on surviving Benn's early storm, those first explosive rounds where Benn fights like a wild beast let loose. But if Eubank weathers that initial chaos, the momentum could flip in violent fashion. Still, Smith isn't sugarcoating anything. Benn's power is real, ferocious, fight-ending, and undeniably dangerous. To make matters more volatile, Smith echoed Barry's sentiment that Benn's relentless pressure might crack Eubank's composure. The burning question becomes this: can Eubank keep his chin intact and rewrite the script, or will Benn bulldoze through him with cold, calculated aggression? This isn't...
Yeah, I think it's a mismatch on paper. Of course it is. It's a fella that won a British title at welterweight, who hasn't boxed for a long time, against a faded world-class middleweight. So I haven't really got any interest, to be honest.
Egg slap not get you excited for us?
Not really, no. I'm not really an excitable guy.
Isn't just a fight. It's a gamble for legacy, pride, and redemption. The division won't look the same after this. Meanwhile, Dave Allen didn't just throw shade, he set the whole conversation on fire, ripping apart the Eubank versus Benn narrative. Allen called it a mismatch masquerading as a mega event. In his view, it's nothing more than a faded middleweight clinging to relevance, facing off with a welterweight who never conquered the domestic scene. For Allen, this isn't a clash of titans. It's clickbait disguised as competition. He tore through the hype with brutal honesty, calling the event a cash grab, an empty spectacle banking on famous surnames. One fighter's been idle, the other's been battered, and in Allen's eyes there's no true rivalry, just nostalgia packaged for profit. Worse still, he sees a massive quality gap between the two, one so glaring it insults real fight fans. To him,
I felt sorry for Junior because he is a 34-year-old man at the time. He wants his own thing. His father is always going to be the centre of attention.
Yeah.
I think he's right to make his own decisions.
Simon, I see exactly what you're saying, because Nigel has slid back from Conor's career, and Chris Senior was right in the front at the beginning. And I think it's great that Junior is walking his own path.
So do I.
However, they have had horrendous tragedy.
I know they have.
this isn't boxing. It's theater in gloves, dragging the sport through the mud. And just when the heat couldn't rise any higher, Steve Collins dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves across the boxing world. For Collins, this bout isn't just about belts or bragging rights. It's about identity, freedom, and breaking chains. He took a hammer to the heart of Eubank Jr.'s career, calling out the toxic father-son dynamic that suffocated his growth. While Nigel Benn has let his son build his own legacy, Chris Eubank Sr. has loomed large, never stepping aside. According to Collins, Eubank Jr. isn't just battling opponents. He's fighting his own blood, desperate to escape a legacy that's more prison than path. He even hinted at deeper emotional wounds within the Eubank family, suggesting those personal tragedies may be holding Chris back more than fans realize. So now, the question is bigger than boxing. Can Eubank Jr. finally break free and forge his own name? Or will he remain shackled?
But I think with Chris, this is purely business. This is purely business. I don't think he quite likes him very much. No. But I'm telling you now, it's a good thing that Conor's in Spain. Because imagine them two bumping into each other on London High Street on a Sunday afternoon.
We don't need that, do we?
No one needs that, no one wants it, but it's inevitable. So you literally have to navigate your way through these camps and keep these two boys away from each other, because
keep the lid on.
I've been there with this kind of animosity, and I've been there with this kind of domestic rivalry. It eats away at you. It's not nice.
No.
It literally eats away at you. It's on your mind daily, and you just... It gets to it's an intense build-up. Like I say, I've been there.
To a legacy that's never let him breathe. One thing's certain, the fire's raging, and this clash is no longer just a fight, it's a reckoning. Tony Bellew doesn't pull punches when it comes to the chaos surrounding Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. For Bellew, this isn't just another fight, it's a bitter grudge match dripping with raw, unfiltered rage. The hatred between these two has been brewing for years, and now it's at a dangerous boiling point. According to Bellew, the bad blood runs so deep that even the press conferences could explode into all-out war if left unchecked. He speaks from experience, warning that this level of animosity can destroy a fighter's focus. Emotional warfare has the power to wreck strategy, distort judgment, and dismantle game plans before the first bell rings. But here's the twist. It can also light a fire inside a fighter that transforms them into a wrecking machine. The mental strain is immense, and the question looms large. Can either man control the...
No, not yet. I need to see what he looks like on the scales. If there was no rehydration clause, I would pick Eubank, but I need to see what he looks like on the scales first, and then if there's a rehydration clause and he already looks bad, it's going to be a hard night for him.
Storm inside their head when it matters most. Bellew believes this won't just be a boxing match. It'll be a street-level war disguised as sport. Carl Frampton, meanwhile, exposes a dangerous variable most are ignoring: Eubank Jr.'s brutal weight cut. Frampton doesn't hold back, stating that the rehydration clause tied to this bout could turn the fight into a nightmare. He's skeptical Eubank will even enter the ring at full strength, and he's reserving judgment until he sees how the fighter looks on the scales. Without the draining process, Frampton says he'd confidently back Eubank against almost anyone. But under these extreme conditions, disaster could be waiting. Eubank has always been known for his durability and ferocity, but if his body gives out before the opening bell, Frampton fears this fight could spiral into a massacre. A weak, depleted Eubank facing an
I think Eubank will do it. I think it's going to be a good fight as long as it lasts, but I think Eubank will do it.
Is that because of the size and all the attributes Amir Khan mentioned?
I think with the experience and everything in it, to be honest, I think he's got the more experience as being professional, and since he's moved trainer, he seems to be a different fighter again.
Explosive Conor Benn is a recipe for disaster. And Frampton's already watching closely. If Eubank looks off even slightly at the weigh-in, this may not just be a tough night, it could be the beginning of the end. On the flip side, Tyson Fury is throwing full support behind Eubank Jr., unleashing his own verbal onslaught. In Fury's view, this fight is a ticking time bomb, and Conor Benn is the one walking straight into a trap. Fury mocks Benn's resume, calling it fluff, padded with names that wouldn't last a round against Eubank. For him, this isn't Benn stepping up, it's Benn getting set up. Fury believes Eubank has evolved into a cold, calculated assassin since his recent trainer switch, sharper and more lethal than ever before. And he's not just predicting a loss for Benn, he's predicting a brutal dismantling. The key difference, according to Fury, is depth. Benn's never experienced true fire. Eubank...
I think it's going to be a very good fight. Conor has punching power chances. Chris is the bigger guy, so you give Chris the advantage going in because he's a bigger guy, but Conor does have exceptional punching power, so it's going to be a great fight. I think Chris should win the fight. I think Chris should outbox him, outsmart him, but he will have to be smart early because Conor is a great puncher.
On the other hand, has been forged in it. Throw in the size disparity, and Fury sees one outcome: a violent crash and burn for Benn's hype train. But not everyone is writing Benn off so easily. Enter Roy Jones Jr., who approaches the matchup with analytical precision. He frames the bout as a high-stakes chess match, one that could spiral into absolute chaos at any second. While he gives Eubank the edge due to his size, skill, and ring IQ, Roy doesn't downplay the one terrifying factor that makes this fight unpredictable: Conor Benn's raw, violent power. Jones acknowledges Eubank as the better technician, but he's clear: if Eubank blinks early, Benn could end the fight in seconds. He warns that the opening rounds will be a war zone and that even a single mistake could flip everything on its head. While many view Eubank as nearly untouchable, Jones insists that if Benn lands clean, it's game over. Still, Roy puts his prediction on the table. He believes Eubank will come out on top, but only if he fights smart, disciplined, and focused from the first second to the last. No room for arrogance, no room for lapses, because one wrong move and Benn will detonate. As the moment of truth draws near, the stakes couldn't be higher. Legacies are on the line, pride is on the line, and careers might never be the same after this war. Will Eubank's experience and mental strength prevail, or will Benn's fire and fury tear through it all? Like comment, and subscribe for more updates on what could be the most explosive showdown of the year.